my cousin. And I always wondered, I said, so God, you see, well, you know,
At this time, the mayor will call to order the regular city council meeting for May the 23rd, Tuesday, May 23rd, 2023, City Council Chambers, 201 East Nash Street, Terrell, Texas. Have with us District 2, Grady Simpson, District 3, Mayor Ronnie Velasquez, Mayor Pro Tem, District 4, Stephanie Holmes Thomas, Deputy Mayor Pro Tem, and District 5, Andrea Reese. At this time, I would ask for everyone to please turn off of their mobile devices. Silence those, please. And we do have a quorum, so we may continue the meeting at this time. If you would, Grady, lead us in invocation. For everyone else, please remain standing for the American and Texas flag.
We bow our heads, please. Father God, we come giving you thanks for allowing us to see another day. We ask for your continued guidance. We pray for your protection of the city of Terrell. We pray for the protection of our country and our counties. All in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
All right, thank you, Councilman. Next on our agenda is Mayor and Council Community Recognition and Events. Does anybody have anything they would like to mention? Oh, all right. Next on the agenda is to hear remarks from visitors. I think we have two. The first one would be Donna Anderson. If you'd please come forward. State your address, your full name, address, and you may speak.
Good evening. Am I being recorded?
Yes.
Okay. My name is Donna Renee Anderson. I live, you want my whole address? 1451 Colquitt Road, apartment 611 in Terrell. I'm a registered voter. Anything else? That's it? Okay.
Yeah, Terrell, Texas, right? Yeah.
Yes, Terrell,
Okay.
Texas. I am coming to you this evening on a matter of communication. I used to be a citizen. I participate now in different things, but I never really cared about what you all did as a council and how it affected me as a citizen. So I'm going to speak today about communication. I do not feel I am represented by my district. I have sent emails. I have written letters. This is the kind of citizen I am. When I contact the person I have a problem with, I will contact them. It's now gotten to the point where different things that are happening to me in Terrell, specifically where I live. I am now making copies to my state and federal representatives because I'm not getting an answer from my representative. Now, many things are going on in the city right now, and I know a lot of things. But when citizens tell me that the city council is going to be tearing down downtown Terrell, I have to correct them to let them know that's not what's happening. For some reason, there is a breach of communication between how the city is doing things and how citizens are receiving them. Now, Mayor, I have written you an email, and I would like you to respond to me when you get the chance, because there are things I would like to talk to you about. But if I am not being represented and no one is speaking on my behalf or responding to me in any way, then that person does not need to be my representative. And when I make a query about what's going on, and there's a little dance to make things happen to look nice, then I feel violated. You are not my boss. You are my representatives. You speak for me. And if there's any shadiness going on, I am not appreciating it right now. And Mayor, please answer my email. And I thank you for the opportunity to give me to speak. I'm not going to, please make sure that whatever the city is doing, that the citizens of this city know what's going on. Because right now, they're not getting the picture. And they don't believe they can come here and talk to you because it has turned into a bully pulpit of some sort. So please, figure it out. Please. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak.
Thank you for your comments. Next on the item is Gail Surratt. You're going to pass? Okay. Anyone else? Hearing none, we'll move on to our next item. Our next item is 6.1, discuss and consider minutes from the regular city council meeting on May the 16th of 2023. Council, is there a motion on 6.1?
Motion to approve regular city council meeting minutes as presented from May 16, 2023.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion from Mayor Ronnie Velasquez, Mayor Pro Tem District 3, a second from, Andrea Reese, District 5, to accept accept the minutes of the meeting of the regular city council of May the 16th of 2023. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, let it be known by stating aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with unanimous vote of those present. Our next item on the agenda is boards and commissions. Discuss and consider zoning board of adjustments, appointments / reappointments. This is going to be handled by our city secretary, Don Stahl.
Mayor and council, the zoning board of adjustments has an opening. Carolyn Fairley moved, and we need to fill that position. I spoke with Andrea Reese, who is over that board, and she would like to postpone this item.
Okay. So Andrea, would you like to make a motion?
Yes, sir. I'd like to make a motion to postpone the item 7.1.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion from Andrea Reese, District 5, a second from Grady Simpson, District 2, to postpone item 7.1, the discuss and consider zoning board of adjustments, appointments and reappointments until the following meeting. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Is there any further discussion?
Listen, I know recently, it's probably been 2 or 3 weeks since we, the city, put out a communication about serving on boards and serving on boards. And while we did receive new applications, it seems like we received only a few or 1 or 2 for the ZBA board. So my ask would be if we could repost that online again. Maybe there's an opportunity to post it at the, maybe outside of the library, maybe some applications tagged to that, and hopefully those that are there in person can fill it out and as well.
And we do have a couple people that
Couple
are
more.
thinking it over and wanted some time because there are other boards they're interested in as well.
Okay. If staff would handle that request. So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, let it be known by stating aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries with unanimous vote of those present. Our next item on the agenda is 8.1, discuss a 10-year capital plan. This will be handled by our city manager, Mike Sims.
So, Mayor and Council, this is more just of a heads up than a long item. Going through dates here, you've got June 29th will be your strategic plan workshop, and then August 3rd and 4th are your budget workshops. Between June 29th and August 3rd and 4th, one of our annual things that we do is adopt a financial policy, adopt a 10-year capital plan, and those help guide many of those additional decisions that you guys make. So we're going to have 10-year capital plan on the agenda for a couple of times here over the next couple of weeks. We're going to be looking at everything from fire station number 3 to relocating fire station number 1 and fire station number 2, and water projects and stormwater projects. quite a bit to be covered there. And so look forward to that, and just know that as part of your regular business, we'll need to adopt a new 10-year capital plan sometime between our June 29th strategic plan meeting and our August 3rd and 4th budget workshop.
Okay. My only comment would be, let's make sure that the council has those dates and that we need to, for everybody to be there if possible. So if there's a date that conflicts with you, we need the staff to know that immediately, so.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anybody else have any comments on that item? Hearing none, our next item on the agenda is business items. Greg, would you read into the record 9.1?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of the council.
You're on.
We bring to you tonight Resolution Number 2969, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Terrell, Texas, adopting a policy to encourage best practices in school sitting and emphasizing the development of safe, efficient routes to schools, especially using non-motorized trips.
Okay, this item will be handled by Mr. Sims. I think we were briefed on it last Tuesday.
Absolutely. So, Mayor and Council, this is the item that we discussed where we had run this policy past the Terrell Independent School District. They gave us a few changes and then gave us a thumbs up for it. Obviously, as a growing community, there's going to be several new schools that need to be built over the next few years. And so where those might be is going to be one of the most important decisions that we end up making as a community. Obviously, all that decision-making is with the Terrell Independent School District, but we can be helpful from time to time. And I'll give you the example of one of our development projects where we're working with an 1,000-acre site. We can go to them, we can talk to the school district, and we can say, hey, this is an area where we see that many new people will move because of the new development. Is this an area where you've got any strategic interest in doing a new elementary school or some other school facility? If they give us the thumbs up at the school that they would like to have another school site there, we can sit down with those developers and we can say, okay, as we're working through our development process, can we make sure that we dedicate 15, 16 or so acres that are necessary for a new elementary school? And so since we already have those discussions, and since having a policy like this in place is an important part of being eligible for federal grants related to sidewalks to schools, and we've always had a good reaction from the community when we did no sidewalks, we decided to put this in policy form and present it to you. So the next page over there, Dawn goes through a couple of the other pieces of information. So part of it is just safety with making sure law enforcement officers can get there easily, making sure that you're not putting it on, and I guess I used for you last time the example of probably doesn't make a lot of sense to put an elementary school on a frontage road, but by golly, you see that from time to time, so we want to have that discussion. And make sure that we can do that. Doing shared playgrounds are important. We've got a project like that we're working on over at Wood Elementary. We've done projects like that in other locations. If you look at cost, that can be an important thing, so we want to make sure that we coordinate some of those topics. And then again, that Safe Routes to School program is a very key issue in working with that. And then, again, very last bullet point is the one I started with, making sure that we get land donated to the school district whenever possible, because, of course, that's a major cost factor for the school as they work through their process. So that's the policy. I'd be happy to answer any questions about it.
Thank you, Mike. I can't imagine why we wouldn't want to be proactive to ensure the safe access to our schools by the students and working with the school district. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Sims?
No new questions for Mr. Sims. This is a resolution that states various items, whether they're conversations or collaborations that the city already for a number of years, way before my time, already has in place with the school district to have discussions, whether they're weekly discussions with the superintendent, the Chamber of Commerce, to discuss opportunities for, when those developers, are coming to the community, and we know there's, when they're coming and we know there's a need for a new school campus, for example. So those conversations are conversations we've already been having. this doesn't mean that we did not already have other tools in our toolbox for grants, like the previous grants we've received for the Safe Routes to School along South Rockwall as one example. But this is yet another tool that we will have in our toolbox that will help us check the box on things we were already doing, and one or two we can add in addition for best practices for how we continue to collaborate with the school district. That's the way I understand this resolution, and am certainly in support.
Okay, anyone else?
Yeah, I just want to make sure that we're clear on that the city has no direct impact on the schools, so we don't tell them what to put in the schools. We don't tell them who to hire. We have no impact on their budget, and they have no impact on us that direction either. We just merely ask each other's opinions on things as related to our children and what's best for our children.
I think that's very well summarized. This is not a binding policy that makes them do some certain thing. This is a policy directive from the city council to staff to make sure that we're working with the school district in these matters.
Okay. All right, so this is in the form of resolution number 2069. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve resolution number 2069 as presented.
I have a motion. Is there a second? Second. I have a motion from Mayor Ronnie Velasquez, Mayor Pro Tem District 3, a second from Grady Simpson, District 2, to approve resolution 2069, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Terrell, Texas, adopting a policy to encourage best practices in school siding. So, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, let it be known by stating aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with unanimous vote of those present. Our next item on the agenda is 9.2.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, we bring to you tonight resolution number 2071, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Terrell, Texas, adopting a roadway safety improvement policy, identifying areas of special emphasis, designating a representative to the Regional Safety Advisory Committee, and specifying specific strategies to deploy to reduce accidents and improve overall traffic safety.
Okay. This is going to be handled by our Deputy Police Chief, Arlie Sansom.
Mayor and Council, this is a second read for this particular policy. It merely puts us in a position where we're going to be following guidelines that have been set forth by the Traffic Safety Council. Most of these things are things that we are already engaged in. There's a few things that we'll be adding based on those recommendations. One of the most important from my perspective is that we'll now have a seat on the committee. And anytime you got feedback, that's a good thing. I learned this morning that there's not a police officer on that committee. So the fact that we'll have one, I think, will be to our advantage. So I recommend that y'all move forward with that.
All right, thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Arlie? All right, thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
So this, again, is resolution number 2071. Is there a motion on resolution 2071?
Motion to approve resolution 2071.
Is there a second?
Second.
I have a motion from Andrea Reese, District 5, a second from Mayor Ronnie Velasquez, Mayor Pro Tem District 3, to approve resolution 2071, a resolution of the City of Terrell, Texas, adopting a roadway safety improvement policy. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, let it be known by stating aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with unanimous vote of those present. Our next item on the agenda is 9.3.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, we bring to you tonight resolution number 2077, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Terrell, Texas, supporting the City of Terrell's application to the Texas Department of Transportation's 2023 Transportation Alternatives Set-Aside, TA, call for our projects.
And this is going to be handled by Mr. Mike Burns. Nope.
Chris Knapp.
Why do I have Mike Burns on here?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I'm the front man,
All right.
not the comedy man.
Yeah.
You would turn it to the map. I've added, you've heard me before, come before you talking about sidewalks. This sidewalk is between, it's on 148, and we're filling in the gap on the sidewalks. Many of you know the sidewalks from 557 on into 80. We have the sidewalks all the way through kind of the little low floodplain area. Then they dissipate out when you get to the veterinarian and come on in. So this project here would be a continuation of that sidewalk from William Street to the Oakley Cemetery in that area. So Mike Burns is in KSA is helping out on this project, and he has some of the more details of this.
All right, thank you. Mike,
Mayor,
go ahead.
council, appreciate your opportunity. This is a application, this resolution is required to be a part of this application to TxDOT. It's part of their set-aside program for non-motorized projects that they do across the state. This is being administrated through the Dallas District of TxDOT. We're competing across the district for money that's available to that district. So this is it's our second time with TxDOT to submit this project as an application for funding. This is 80-20, 80% federal funding, 20% local match. And we also submitted this project last year as part of a project with the North Central Texas COG. So this resolution is just getting the city's approval and resolve to do this job if it was selected for funding. It will be October before we know if this project gets selected by TxDOT for funding this time around. I have some confidence in it, so I think it will go this time. I think we've showed it to them enough times. I think they know it's needed. It's a great project. It's definitely needed for non-motorized, meets their program calls exactly.
So, Mayor, if you don't mind, I'm going to go back to that map real quick to fill in a little bit more project history on this real quick. So the ones running south from Oakwood Cemetery, New Oakwood Cemetery, that go all the way down to Interstate 20, those were funded as part of what we refer to as the pass-through program. So that was a partnership that we did with the regional transportation and with the county and with the developers in that area. And those sidewalks that went down from New Oakwood all the way down to Interstate 20 were paid for entirely with money that did not come from the city of Terrell. So those were all a combination of grant and developer funds running all the way down south from there. The red ones on this map that go from Williams up to US 80, those are being paid for because when we did the county bond program in 2014, we scoped out a project and the county bond program paid for about $2 million in engineering. That netted us a $16 million project to rebuild the US 80 148 State Highway 205 intersection at the railroad tracks there. And as part of that, we made sure and we insisted that there would be sidewalks on that project. So they're not just building the ones that are red there from Williams up to the railroad tracks. They're also extending some of those sidewalks on 80 and north on 205 as well, because there's a complete package of sidewalks as part of that. So it was those two opportunities where we were able to get that with funding from our partners and not from City of Terrell taxpayers that really has set us up for this next opportunity to fill in the gap. And again, even though there'll be a local match, very happy that we can move forward on this with filling in this gap of sidewalks here. So just a lot of history here, because really this idea started back in the 2014 county bond program is when we started working on getting this stuff done.
Yeah, thank you. And this is an 80-20 match.
80-20 match.
We put in 20%, they're going to put in 80%. That's transportation funds that are coming back to our community, is that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Does anybody have any questions?
Just wanted to question. No, you said you feel really good about this, getting funding for this time. What made it more favorable this time? Was there anything we did?
Well, they did a call after the first. We turned in a preliminary application back in April. And then a few weeks ago, they had a project call with people that turned in. And just from that conversation, they knew a lot about the project, and I just felt good after that conversation with the people at TxDOT. I think you throw it out there enough, it will finally hit. I think this may be one, but you never know. Come October.
I see the red. If you pull that map back up down, please. That's a future project. Do you know what proximity of time that may
That project is already, it's being constructed right now. That's part of that big intersection project at Highway 80 and 205, and those red, it says future here, because when we did this, we put it as, wasn't part of our project. But those sidewalks will be included in that current construction project that TxDOT is doing at that intersection. So we'll be tying, probably by the time we get this done and funded, we'll be tying into those new sidewalks.
Do we know approximately what that 20% cost is going to be dollar-wise?
Somewhere between 200 and 250,000. We were hoping to be able to use your local transportation credits on it, but we're going to have to kind of see the timing on when those become available and when the funding becomes available on this project. That will be according to Mike, I think that'll be our desire to do that. We may have to back it up with local funding if we don't get the TCD.
So again, just for background purposes, transportation development credits are the credits we earn when our drivers from Kaufman County drive on toll roads in the state. And there's a little formula that sends that back and gets allocated and creates a pot of money at the Regional Transportation Council. We always want to access those funds, and so we go aggressively after those. And so that's the funding source he's speaking about there. If we use transportation development credits as our local match, then it wouldn't come out of our bank account. It would come out of the Regional Transportation Council. Whether we can actually pull that off on this particular project and whether the timing works, that's just going to be stuff we find out this summer, this fall. It's going to take a while for that part of this to shake out.
Mike, to clarify, so everything that is in yellow is a proposed project?
Correct.
And I've seen, an increase, probably because we have we have sidewalks now on 148. Or 148, not 205, 148. So that increases pedestrians, and I've seen them individuals walking over the bridge on the spur. I've seen them, walking along Denny's, and then continuing to come up north, and there is that drop off then, and I'm sure community members, would also walk towards Walmart, walk towards CVS, grocery store, drugstore, as an example, and with us having plans in place, will you walk me through what we already accomplished as a city that we don't have to do new compared to maybe selecting a different area along a state highway in the city of Terrell? Did we have some engineering? Did we have some design that was already paid for that helps us, I guess, for lack of better words, lower the cost on this project?
Well, everything that's going to be, we have to do a preliminary opinion of probable project costs. That's up to 1.2, 1.3 million total in with all construction and non-construction costs. Our fees, surveying, environmental, dealing with TxDOT takes time to go through projects like this, are all included, but it's all part of the grant. It's all at 80-20 match with that. So you will know once we get awarded the project and we get the final costs, you'll know, the city will know what their responsibility is to get this project done. As far as the use of the need of the project, you hit it. It's all the developments up to the north on Highway 80, all the new developments down on Interstate 20, and this will help fill the gap and help non-motorized traffic to increase all through that corridor. You can see from all the green space on either side of 148, there's still lots of room for development and more need. That will help keep those non-motorized traffic patterns if we get these sidewalks constructed in time. Does that hit your question? Did I dance around that too much, or did I?
I believe you're saying that for the sidewalks themselves, there's not anything the city has expensed yet, whether it's engineering or design, because all of that will be part of this.
No, in fact, Mr. Sims talked me into doing this application for free. So you haven't been able to spend anything so far. he twisted my arm, and I said, okay, we'll do this application. We did the first one, and we did get paid for the first one. So when we had, we'll say, well, we've got a lot of the forms already filled out, we can do the second one without charging the city for it, so.
And we appreciate that very much. We sure do.
I had to throw that in there,
That's
you know?
fine. So I want to touch on what I thought part of your question was, which is, well, why pick this particular section of sidewalk? Because it would be pretty straightforward for anybody in Terrell to pick another 5 miles worth of sidewalks we need to build. In this particular case, what Mike's doing is he's trying to help us line up projects that we have that we'd like to do with the criteria of the funding program. And TxDOT likes building on their own right-of-way. They like building on high-volume roadways, and they like building in locations where they can check the box that said, hey, we filled in a gap. And because this had technically become a gap between the US 80, 205, 148 intersection box that was getting built and the ones that we had partnered with our, the county, the Regional Transportation Council and developers to build south of Oakwood Cemetery, that let them identify that as gap, and that made us competitive in this particular call for projects.
No right-of-way is required, no major, as we can tell, no major environmental, no major utilities, and all those are listed in the application, and that's helps the process with them. They just like a clean job when they award these, so that's why we feel pretty good about this project.
During the phone interview process, to address your questions, Stephanie and Miranda, the interview process went through from TxDOT to Mike and I. Had all these questions, does it do this, does it do this? And when we show them this map, that it closes the gap and it allows individuals, non-motorized, to get from Walmart to Buc-ee's or that area, it was a big selling point. So it's going to be disappointing if we don't get it in October, but from the phone conversation, everything was very positive. Everything was like, oh, wow, you got this, you got that. And you don't have to purchase any land. This starts making the small things that you got to do in the background go away. It makes it much more cleaner, much more efficient in trying to get the project completed. And they see the big picture out of this. So that's the winning thing that we got out of that conversation.
I think we've all heard the term time is money, so I'm gonna kind of reverse this in a sense. All right, listening to Mike and listening to the presentation as well. Is there anything we can do that maybe wouldn't be interpreted as unethical to delay something so we could time it to get the transportation credits? That's a serious question, though.
I understand, and I would love to position it that way, and that's the intent, and I think that's the goal behind that, if we could do that. A lot of it has to deal on the timing of TxDOT on that.
Okay, thank you so much.
Anyone else? No, thank you, guys. We certainly appreciate it. Again, you know, anytime you can put city money and partner with others and get 80% funding is a good thing. So our consideration would be Resolution 2077. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve resolution number 2077 as presented.
Is there a second? Second. We have a motion from Mayor Ronnie Velasquez, Mayor Pro Tem District 3, a second from Grady Simpson, District 2, to approve Resolution 2077, a resolution of the City Council, Texas, supporting the Terrell, City of Terrell's application to TxDOT 2023 Transportation Alternative Set-Asides. Is there any discussion? Again, I just wanted to, the council to know that, hey, anytime you can put $250,000 in a project and get $1.2 million back, that's a good thing for the city, and I don't know why you would be against doing that. And as far as timing, TxDOT, just like Union Pacific and all the other big players that we have that we partner with, a lot of time the city has to meet their deadlines and their timelines. But all good questions during this consideration. So I'm pleased with everybody, and I hope you got your answers that you were looking for. We have a motion and a second. Is there any other further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, let it be known by stating aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimous vote of those present. Our next item on the agenda is 9.4.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, item 9.4 is to discuss and consider quotes received relating to underground storage tank removal.
Okay. This is going to be handled by Snap. Chris Snap.
Yes, this right here, council. I'll be honest with you, I thought Raylan was going to be here, but I'm going to step in here. On the underground tank removal, we had the vendor, the written request and the quotes. And as you can see before you, these are the quotes. We searched through as you see there, through the funding and the remediation, the contracting of the underground. And as a result of this project, where'd you go? There you go. Is to proceed on with this. City recommends that the council goes with ERC. We sit down and, as a team and evaluated the quotes and evaluated each one of these. And as the outcome is to recommend approval for ERC of $46,528. And the copy of the vendor quote is attached. The reason a lot for going forward with this is it also reduces our liability on down the road of when you have those tanks underground. If any potential that we'd have to do any future monitoring wells to ensure that any leakage is not occurring, especially when they're not in use on a daily basis. So that's the recommendation.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Mr. Snap?
Chris, last time that the item was presented by Raylan specifically, I had the question about whether we had made an attempt to review or apply for any grants related to environmental factors such as the tank in this case. I did see in the packet, of course, that staff had researched the different grants, and I and Raylan missed each other earlier today in an attempt to have a more thorough conversation about the grants specifically. But I did see the notes about that we don't qualify for the specific grants that some of the specific grants we were asking about. It looks like she also looked into other grants through like the EPA.
Yes, and Mike knows a little bit more about that, but due to the total cost of just 46,000, the grants were up above, way up on the limits of $1 million. So it just didn't money out that way that there's going to be a grant allowable for that. If that's.
So the federal and state grants that were looked into by staff all had minimums associated with them. So if you had a project that was going to be $1 million project because you really had that much environmental damage, then you could do an application and you could be, considered competitive because you would meet the minimum threshold. And of course, there's that bias out there with TCEQ and the EPA about this issue of, well, are they going to spend more staff time handing out the grant than they are going to be cutting the check? And so they just don't do grants of this size. This quote that we have here was something we considered to be a good price. And so we just didn't find anything in the grant world that would be the right fit for it.
Are these the same quotes as we received last time, or did they change?
So we reached out to all the ones here on this list that you see before you. So that's 6 different folks, and requested updated pricing. We were given by ERS virtually the exact same price that they provided last time. Global Fuels just stood by their previous pricing, and the rest of them declined to provide updated pricing. So we just kind of summarized that here. And so since, and there's a misprint there, it's ERS, not ERC, but they are the 46528.
Anybody else have any questions for staff?
I have a quick question, because I did some research after we had the last time we looked at this, and wanted to, can you kind of speak to the environmental impact if we don't go forward with this?
Well, I can tell you all the issues that you'd have to monitor and the potential out there. Anytime you have underground storage tanks that are there that are now inactive, one, we would have to make sure we evacuate all the product out of it and ensure that either through some extra measures to make sure that's done. As a result, if we sealed them up how we would seal them up, we'd have to spend some extra time and possibly some money to make sure they're kept maintained that way. So there would be some funds there. Some environmental measures would have to be incorporated, some SOPs to make sure as we progress on, while they're inactive, that we're ensuring that they're not being filled up or they're leaking or they're collecting water or anything of that nature. So there would be some additional environmental measures that would have to be incorporated even while they were inactive. Even since we know once we're active, had fuel in them, and then now they're empty, we would have to be good stewards of those tanks while they're inactive.
So, Mr. Knapp, would it be fair to say that we as the city would be spending more money to keep the tanks in there additionally and would still have the cost of the removal of the tanks at some point?
That's very true. If you keep them 2 to 5 years, I anticipate your O&M cost of maintaining and ensuring that they're empty and not leaking or causing any other environmental conditions would be equivalent to the $46,000-$50,000 range.
Okay. Thank you.
And there's 2 closeout things that are mentioned in the bid documents provided, and one of them is doing the destroying of the tanks. That's on page 38, by the way. So one of the things that has to happen here is you don't take those tanks out and then you take them somewhere else and you go use them again, right? Those are just fully destroyed and recycled. So that's a big part of this. You want to get that off of your liability sheet and get that to a company that can document that you've taken care of that tank and done the right thing with that tank. And then the next thing is the second to last one down there that says you're going to get your closure report, right? You want your TCEQ record to say there used to be tanks here. They were removed. We tested the dirt. We found out the dirt was okay. Mm-hmm. And we now give you a thumbs up that that's closed, it's forever closed, and it's just off your books as a concern. That's the liability step you want to get past in this situation.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yes, Mayor. Is that total lump sum price, $46,528? Is that a
not to exceed?
Not to exceed?
That's correct.
Thank you.
I was gonna ask this, the other companies that didn't resubmit the updated numbers, did we get any feedback why they didn't? I'm just curious. Okay.
Okay. Anybody else? Mr. Knapp? Thank you, Chris. Council, the consideration would be to move forward with ERS in an amount not to exceed $46,528 of the underground storage tank removal. Does anybody have any questions? Well, is there a motion?
Yes, Mayor. Motion to approve ERS, Inc. for a quote not to exceed $46,528.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Motion from Grady Simpson, District 2, a second from Andrea Reese, District 5, on a contract to approve the contract for ERS in an amount not to exceed $46,528. Is there any further discussion? Okay. All those in favor, let it be known by stating aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimous vote of those present. Our next item on the agenda is 9.5.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, we bring to you tonight Resolution Number 2078, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Terrell, Texas, approving the updated organizational chart and declaring an effective date.
So, Mayor and Council, this is a pretty straightforward item. We have some happy here at the end of the council meeting today. Every now and then, we need to update our organizational chart because people are kind of progressing through their careers. So if you click on the next slide, this is a slide that you see that's in the budget every year, and it basically shows our management structure. And I'll walk through where I'd like it to be and how this is different than what's in the budget. Right now, Steve Rogers is shown as supervising Chris Snap and Mike McKeska, and as Steve is approaching retirement soon, we're going to kind of rework that so that Mr. McKeska and Mr. Snap are reporting directly to me. And then also with Jay Ayers having success in his career and moving on to the city of Heath, we need to go ahead and name some replacement strategy there. And my recommendation for you is that Denise Simon is doing a wonderful job and filling in for Jay in the housing role. And then Shelley Wallace is doing a wonderful job in the finance role. I can wholeheartedly 100% recommend both of them. I've been working with Denise Simon on housing issues for 3 months now, and I can tell you that she's done an excellent job. I sat in with her through an audit by Housing and Urban Development, and a federal audit of your housing program is just all the fun that you would imagine it is. And I would say that she came out of that with flying colors, did a great job, and then she's also done a really good job on some state law issues that affect our housing program as well. Done a good job on some customer service issues, so I'm seeing real success there. And then our finance director, Shelley Wallace, I mentioned before one time when she was here, that she had the great success of taking our IT transition, where our software dates back to, I think it's all DOS-based right now. It's pretty antiquated in our finance department now, and we're upgrading that to Munis technology. She took that project from being behind schedule, and now it's on schedule, and that's a great thing. And as you know, she's done a great job with just some of the standard reporting requirements that we have. So I can enthusiastically recommend this new organizational chart to you, and this will allow us to move forward with this structure for the foreseeable future. Of course, the next change that will come down the line is our current recruitment of an assistant city manager, and you would expect this chart to change at that point.
Okay. Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Sims?
Clarify what I'm seeing on organizational chart. We are not adding any new positions. We're replacing those vacant roles at this time with individuals that have essentially had their probationary period to assure that they are more than capable in doing the role that they've been doing. And at this time, and I would look forward to having both, while Shelley has presented for us at numerous times, I look forward to seeing Denise Simon present on everything housing as we go through our strategic plan and budget over the next couple of months.
I would say exactly right. Both of those employees, really everybody you see on this chart, will be at your strategic plan retreat on June 29th.
All right, anyone else? Is there a motion on Resolution 2078, updating the department heads?
Yes, Mayor, motion to approve Resolution 2078.
Second?
Second.
We have a motion from Grady Simpson, District 2, a second from Mayor Ronnie Velazquez, Mayor Pro Tem District 3, to approve Resolution 2078, updating the department heads. Is there any further discussion? I do want to say that both Denise Simon and Shelley Wallace have really impressed Mr. Sims, myself included, and I think some of the staff as well, and some of the council members, if we vote to approve this and they are moved up into the department head, if we could send a little thank you or congratulations from the mayor and the council. Anybody have any more comments? All those in favor, let it be known by stating aye.
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 Any, so it's a 4-0 vote, unanimous present vote for item 9.5. The next item on our agenda is the consent agenda. Council will, if there's no objection, we'll take both of these at the same times. This is going to be ordinance number 2982 and ordinance number 2983. This is a consent agenda item. Is there a motion on 10.1 and 10.2?
Motion to approve consent agenda as presented.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
I have a motion from Mayor Ronnie Velazquez, Mayor Pro Tem District 3, a second from Andrea Reese, District 5, to approve the consent agenda as presented. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, let it be known by stating aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries with unanimous vote of those present. Our next item on the agenda, is number 11, receive Terrell Police Department monthly reports for April of 2023. Again, council, if you have any questions after you review the data, please reach out to Mr. Sims or the chief. Our next item on the agenda is adjourn into executive session in accordance with Section 551 of the Texas Government Code to discuss the following. Section 551.072, deliberations regarding real property. Section 551.87, deliberations regarding economic development negotiations. We are now in executive session. We're going to reconvene into regular session and consider action, if any, on the items discussed in executive session. Does anyone have any motions?
Yes, Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to authorize the city manager to enter into a contract to purchase Pet Country Spa as our new animal adoption center for the city of Terrell.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second. So there's a motion from Andrea Reese, District 5, a second from Grady Simpson, District 2, to move forward with the pet facility. Any further discussion? All right. Anyone else?
Yay.
All right. All those in favor, let it be known by stating aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with unanimous vote of those present. We are adjourned.